Hi folks, since we've already learned how to open up an image, to open an image through Bridge, and then also to open a new document and create a new document within Photoshop, this video is going to quickly show you how to create an image in text using Photoshop and maybe what panels you might use. And this is going to be our first exercise in JetNet for week 2. And it's going to be your only exercise outside the forum. So using the test Hugh's new document that we've created, this unit, go ahead and you might want to remember that the way we created that was new document, and then I named it test_Hugh's, and I let it default, and I kept the resolution at 200, the color mode RGB, with the background contents white. And then I said okay. Okay, so this is what I got when I opened it up. We talked a little bit about Workspace Essentials and what's important when we're working with basic type and image. I would say Essentials, so I'm going to go ahead and reset Essentials. And one of the things I see prominently is my layers panel, which is something I do use quite a bit in Photoshop. So for this exercise, we want to have type, image, and we want to work with the tools panel because this exercise helps us kind of dive in and get to know Photoshop a little bit better. So using this test document, let's open up, or we can file, place a linked image into. So file, place linked. We're going to navigate. I'm going to use that bowl of M&Ms again and then place that right into Photoshop. And you can see it places it on a separate layer. It's got this sort of mock bounding box around it, and I'm going to go ahead and double click right on it just to kind of confirm that that's where I want to have it. So I have an image, and you can see that it's a linked image. It's also called a smart object thumbnail image. I can move that image wherever I want. For right now, I'm going to put it over to the right, which I suggest you do with your image because we want to have the left side free for text. In order to keep it as part of the Photoshop and not have it require that link every time we open it up, be sure you're on that layer. Up to Layer, Rasterize, Smart Object. What that does is it sort of allows it to merge with the current workspace and what we're working on in it. You can see that little link is now gone. We've rasterized those pixels to be part of this workspace. Okay, so we have our image, we have our background. Now we probably want to create some kind of effect of the image, and I want you to experiment with some of these tools and see what you're going to do to give to me as your exercise 1. First, I'd like to select, using the lasso tool. This is a selection tool. I'd like to select this area here. It's sort of a freehand select tool. It's not easy to use, but as long as I go here and I appear as though I'm going to close the selection, it highlights that whole area, and now I'm able to kind of get rid of that black area. I didn't get all of it. I kind of missed here, but that's okay. I don't really want to delete that or fill it with the background because it might just be this hard line. I really want it to be feathered. So the first thing I want to do, and I'm on the right layer, is I want to go to Select, and I go to Modify, Feather. I'm going to feather this about 5 and then say OK. And then I'm going to delete it because I know the white is in my background space, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And see, I have a little softer edge around that selection. I'm going to go to my Move tool, and I'm going to go to Command D to deselect, or that would be Control D on the PC. I'm not really thrilled with what I did, but it's a way to get rid of sort of the background. I'm going to go to one of the tools I like to go to a lot to fix is the eraser tool. And obviously it's not very big, it's small. You can change the brush size up here to whatever size you'd like. Another way to do that too is using the brackets on your keyboard to quickly incrementally open up or shrink the size of that brush. So let's say I just go like this. I want it to be just, and I'm going to erase part of the background here. I want it to be kind of soft. And I want to take away sort of the bowl. You can do a much quicker way. There are several ways to do it too, called the clipping path. In other ways, this is just a real basic way to highlight just the M&Ms. I'm going to go to my move tool, maybe have them coming in off the upper right hand side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my type tool. I really want to add type to this image. As you can see, we're in the bowl close-up layer. If you go to your type tool and then you click, a brand new layer pops up. That's good and bad in some cases, but we're going to go with it for right now. It defaults to Myriad Pro Regular 12 point. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in something about the M&Ms. Okay. Okay, so just like a quick little statement on the M&Ms, corny, but it works for right now. I enlarged this text. You can use the control panel to work with the text. Lots of different things to do. If you click on, if you click on 3D, it allows you to do different things. Would you like to switch to 3D workspace? If I say yes, then obviously it changes my workspace and I have a whole other realm of options. I'm not going to do that right now, but just so you know, it's there. I'm going to go back to my type tool, my layers, still kept my 3D workspace, but I've got my type and this is what I'm going to go with. So I have type and image, both within this document to view. And now if I want to apply like some serious effects, I can always rasterize this type and then treat it as image and do some interesting things to it. I think I can enlarge this just a little bit more. Okay, so here I have copy and I want to make sure my text is a color, so I'm going to put my selection tool, my type tool right in there and highlight it all, and now I'm going to change the color of this. I'm going to change the color to maybe somewhere around this sort of teal color. Say OK. And now I'd like to add a drop shadow to this text. One of the things I can do, one of the ways to do that is to select it all. You can go to go to anywhere in your panel and notice that there's a lot of things that are grayed out, and here's why. It wants you to rasterize the type before you can apply any effects to it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Layer, Rasterize, Type. And now if you're on this type layer, there's lots of different things you can do with it. You can then go back into your filters and notice, oh wow, there's a lot more options available to me. If I go to any one of these, blur, distort, noise, pixelate, render, sharpen, stylize, video, or other, you can see that you've got a lot of different cool options to apply. One of the quick ways to grab those same options, are to go over here. You might want, some kind of application to the text. And this drop-down menu allows you to do that. But the real common effect to apply to text is a drop shadow, so we're going to still do that, which is under Layer Style, Drop Shadow, and that would be here. And then you get this Layer Style that pops up, which is wonderful because we have Bevel and Emboss option, Drop Shadow. So your requirement is to add 3 different layer styles, and first of all, we'll make sure that the drop shadow is on there. I'll just let that go as a default. You can apply different things to it if you'd like. I'm also going to do a stroke, and I'm going to do it outside and have the color with black. And then I'm also going to do a bevel and emboss and let that default and see sort of what happens from then on. So I'm going to say okay. You can see I have a very thin black stroke around my teal colored copy. I also have a little bit of a drop shadow as well as a layer, bevel and emboss. Now the drop shadow I'm not incredibly excited about, so I went over under this layer and double clicked it, and I'm going to make it just a little more intense, about 70. And I'm going to do a little more distance, a little more spread, and a little more size. Say okay, see if we notice a difference, and we do. It's not really 100% readability. I don't advocate that you visually, it doesn't look great. It's kind of a little bit too spread out. So we would go back up, and maybe the spread is 0 and the size is a little less. Distance is a little less too. And then you say okay. You see a nice little drop shadow here, one that helps it add a little dimension. So this is what I want you to do for your first exercise. I also want to see both the layered file and the flattened file so you understand the difference. So we have text, image, we have a selection, we have 3 effects happening for our type. We've rasterized both our image and our text, and we are going to flatten this. But first we want to save it. So File, Save As. Again, the layered file is always PSD. I'm going to change the name to my last name _ E1, and it's going to be for week 2. So W2E1, and that's PSD. That's a layered. Save it under desktop, wherever you know best to save your images, and then go ahead and flatten it. Over in the layers panel, you go ahead and do a flatten image, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save as, save it as a JPEG. Both of these documents should be saved in a folder, and then go ahead and compress your folder and upload it for this week's exercise, and you should be done. See you in the next video next week.